All right. Good morning, everyone. As was stated already, my name is Thomas Barr. I'm the Vice President of Business Development at Local First Arizona and thrilled to be with you today. This is a presentation that we give with different lenses and perspectives throughout the year, really focused on helping small businesses and locally owned businesses in particular think about how to position your uniqueness of being a local business at the center when working to reach new customers, working to reach new clients, working to tell your story at any time throughout the year. So this one's special because we're thinking about the holiday season coming up. So I've got a lot of tips and tools and resources and ideas and things to just walk away and think about after today. But I hope that you'll just be really embracing, who you are, why you started your business, who you are as a company, what you're doing to position your business in competition with non-local businesses, that sort of positioning, and really consider how you can leverage being a locally owned business to your advantage as you're marketing yourself, as you're thinking about advertising, as you're thinking about collaborating with other businesses. So a lot of the examples that I'll give today are from throughout the years of my time with Local First and even before my time joining the organization. And I'm sure there's lots of others. So it's really just meant to get you thinking creatively and get you to be really considering what other businesses you could be working with and things you could be doing. So as I get started, I always like to open it up in the chat. If those of you that are attending wouldn't mind just dropping in the name of your business and where in Arizona you are, I would love to know. It's really helpful for me, so I kind of know what types of businesses have joined today, and the types of industries you're in and that sort of thing. So feel free to drop it in the chat and I'll take a look at it as we go through today. So I wanted to start by just kind of grounding ourselves in who we are as Local First Arizona and what we do. We are a business coalition that's been around for 21 years, all focused on celebrating, supporting, promoting locally owned businesses all throughout the state. But that couldn't start without getting started with our roots and our foundation. And Local First, as many of you may have heard and may know, was started by our founder and CEO, who launched art gallery in downtown Phoenix in the modified arts back when there was no such thing as Roosevelt Row. And when she opened up that art gallery, there wasn't much on that street. She says there was a hubcap shop and a liquor store at the time she opened her gallery, but she took a gamble on an old building, opened up her gallery, and started collaborating with other artists, with other community-owned businesses right there in that neighborhood. And as many people know, today it is known as Roosevelt Row, but that didn't happen overnight. A few years after she opened up her art gallery and music venue, another friend opened up an art gallery, then a restaurant opened up, and they started really collaborating and working together. And so we love to look at that model as kind of, the first footprint of Local First Arizona, because if you look at that neighborhood today, if you come to downtown Phoenix, you see restaurants, art galleries, retailers, culture, music, people, right? All of these things that local businesses want, traffic, and all of the things that make driving your business forward really essential. And so, you come to Roosevelt Row, you get off on the light rail, you see a sign that says Arts District. They've been ranked one of the top 10 art districts in the country. And all of that happens because those locally owned businesses were working together. They were linking arms and they were establishing connections and they were making sure that they were doing business with each other. And so if you look at it today, that's really the model of how Local First Arizona thought of how we could connect all the businesses in Arizona together. We wanted to be sure that every locally owned business, no matter where you were, no matter what industry you're in, no matter who you were already working with, that we could create a collection and a network of businesses that could thrive by doing business together and people could find them. And so after our founder, kind of started working within this neighborhood, we launched Local First, and today we're the largest local business coalition in the country, supporting and celebrating thousands of businesses across the state. And so here's just a little bit about us today. You may be aware of this. Some of this you may not be. I'm not putting this up here to say how great Local First Arizona is. I'm putting it up here because we know that these things are important. We know that you as locally owned businesses matter and that people want to connect with you, right? We wouldn't have all these blog readers and newsletter subscribers if people didn't want to connect with locally owned businesses, right? We know that people want to do those things. So our job at Local First is to make sure that you are the best business out there, that people have the best experience they possibly can, that you're offering the best advice and expertise and best products that are out there, so that people walk away not feeling great because they supported a locally owned business, but they feel great because they just had an awesome transaction with a business that is better than them just sitting at home and shopping on Amazon, right? You create experiences that matter, you connect people to place, and you drive more revenue for our communities that contribute to the infrastructure of how our society is built. So we want people to remember that because you offer great products and services every single day. So part of today is helping provide you some guidance and some ideas on how to do that better. We know that when people are connected to you and connected to more locally owned businesses, they are connected to place. They are more likely to give charitably, to vote, to volunteer, to do all these things. And so we drive this message home all year long and encourage you to do so as well. Before I dig into all the examples, though, I want to just give one common example that we talk about and why the economic impact of being a locally owned business is so important, and different ways that you can talk about it with family, friends, with customers, with clients, with whoever you're doing business with, so that people understand that they're not just doing it because it feels good, right? But it also makes a strong economic impact in their neighborhood and in their community. I'm going to give the example right here, which is, let's think about in today, if in the city that you're in, there would be 15 Starbucks opening up versus 15 locally owned coffee shops opening up. What would be the difference between those two things happening, and what would be similar? So if 15 Starbucks were opening up, they're all going to create jobs, right? I'm not going to lie to you and say that 15 Starbucks opening up in your city is not going to create jobs. They are going to pay all of their taxes as well. Heck, Starbucks is going to do great things for their employees, right? Sometimes they pay for the college tuition of their staff, all these things, arguably the best chain out there. But all these Starbucks that are opening up are not hiring any local printers in their city for all of their menus and their signage. They're not hiring any graphic designers to design new logos. They're not hiring any web developers to build new websites, right? All of these jobs that you source as a locally owned business to run your companies are not being supported by this type of business opening up in our community. Let's look at all of these locally owned coffee shops. If 15 of them are opening up today, they're hiring 15 web developers and 15 graphic designers and 15 accountants and on and on and on down the list. And so you as a locally owned business do not exist in a silo, right? You exist and you do business with others that are right here in the community, and you support what we call those secondary jobs. They're jobs that most people don't see on a day-to-day basis, but they make the world go round, and they're critically important for running our economy. You may be one of those secondary jobs on this workshop today, and we believe that, you are the center of, when we talk about small businesses and locally owned businesses, we need them to operate our companies, right? So this is just an example of how you can talk about why it's so important economically for dollars to recirculate and stay in our community. When people go into a locally owned business, that money doesn't just stay with that business. You turn around and you spend it with other companies around you, and you build a thriving infrastructure, which makes our local economy strong. So, preparing for the holidays, why we're here today, I'm going to give you a ton of examples and different ideas to grasp as you're thinking about getting ready. What do you need to do? What do you want to do? Maybe this is your first year being a local business during the holidays, maybe not, but this is just meant to get you thinking about different ways that you can do it. So, as you're getting prepared, you want to be thinking about all of the infrastructure, all of the things that you need to be planning, getting ready for, what type of signage are you going to need to be investing in? What type of events and campaigns do you want to be participating in? Can you be doing that research now so that you ensure that you're ready to be collaborating with other businesses, focusing on what types of marketing materials that you need, all of those sorts of things. You can be planning your social media out now, right? You can be looking at content, looking at events, looking at themes that you can theme your business with, so that you're not playing catch up and doing it last minute when the holidays come. You can be looking at other small businesses around you, whether that's regionally or other businesses that have a similar demographic as you, to be considering who you can be collaborating with, what types of campaigns you can be running together. And I'm going to give some examples of those. You really want to focus on how you can embrace your story, right? People are 10 times more likely to come back and support your business and do business with you if they know your story, if they know who you are, if they know why you are doing business, not just what you're doing as a business owner. If you have employees and a team, or you have a team of people around you, how can you get prepared? Start training them how to talk about what you're offering, how to talk about who you are as a business, right? With the decrease in attention spans these days, even whether it's on social media or not, you need to be well prepared to tell people why you're in business and what it is that you do. So maybe it's time to refresh that. Maybe it's time to rethink how you're going to do that during a very noisy holiday advertising season, right? And then really through this entire presentation, I want you to be thinking about what's going to set yourself apart. If somebody is going to go out of their way to spend their hard-earned money with your business, why should they do that? And how are you going to make it so that you can convince them to do it over anybody else that's out there, right? What makes you the absolute best? So just remember that Local First has access to tons of graphics and imagery and proof that it is beneficial for people to spend their money with you, for our community, for the local economy, and for themselves. When they spend $100 with a local business, $43 stays in our local community. That same $100 spent with a national chain, only $13 stays here. So while this might not convince every single person to come to your business, it drives the message home when you leave. If anybody's ever been to Changing Hands bookstore before, when you leave, they will give you a bookmark for your book. And on the back of the bookmark, it tells you the 10 things that you did by buying from a local bookstore. You've kept dollars in the community. You've helped keep jobs right here in Arizona. You've increased the tax revenue for your local community, right? It's a reminder for their ongoing customers that they feel good about supporting a locally owned bookstore and that they had a great experience doing so. So not just be thinking about getting people in the door, but what can you do to drive the message home after they've purchased from you and after they've left? I encourage businesses to do this all the time. Look around. Look at what non-local competition is doing. There is millions and millions of dollars that large corporations pump into marketing efforts, research. What are consumers doing right now? And you can be taking advantage of all of that, right? Pick up the New York Times, pick up any publication, look in the economy section, and see what these large companies are planning on doing in 3 months, because it will always tell you based on trends that they've seen the current quarter, right? Use that as your research. How can you leverage the money that they're pumping into marketing and research and put it into your own business? So there's lots of things that might be helpful in a positive way that you could take away, but also just look at what they're doing as businesses. And again, how are you going to set yourself apart? How are you going to convince people that it's better for people to take their money and spend it with you versus a non-local company? One example I'll give here, and again, I promise, I'm not picking on Starbucks, arguably one of the best chains out there. But if anybody's been to a Starbucks, which maybe you want to raise your hand, maybe you're not, I'm not gonna make you do one or the other. If you've ever been to a Starbucks, everybody knows that they've gotten your name wrong once or twice, right? It's a common theme. It's a common story. You tell them, if I walked in, said my name is Thomas, maybe I get my cup and it says John, right? Everybody knows it's just a thing there. So what's something that a local coffee shop could do to set themselves apart from that? Get to know their customers, right? I know the local coffee shop that I go to every day. I walk in and they're, hey, Thomas, waving their hands behind the counter, right? They get to know me. And in return, I'm loyal to that business because they've treated me with respect. They've treated me with great service. They've gotten to know me. They know my pets. They know my wife. They know more about me than getting my name wrong on a cup, right? There's a great coffee shop on 32nd Street in Camelback in Phoenix that does a good job of this. And you know, if you go in there, I promise, and you sit down and you just drink your coffee or sit on your laptop for an hour, you will, no joke, 95% of the time, every person that walks up to the counter, the cashier will be stating their name before they even walk up. they have memorized and they've gotten to know their customers so well that the majority of the people that are in there every day are in there every single day, that they've gotten to know them so well. So be thinking again, how can you differentiate yourself? How can you set yourself apart, especially when it comes to the holiday season? There's not only millions of dollars pumped into research and on all these efforts, there's millions of dollars going out in advertising. So how can you cut through the noise? How can you be different? So really think about these things. What do you have that attracts people, or what do you have that they can't get anywhere else? Doesn't have to be a product, right? Could be an experience, could be service, could be expertise. What makes you worth a special trip? We're not going to lie and say that, every single locally owned business is easy to get to or is around the corner, right? Maybe you have to go an extra mile. Maybe you have to go an extra 4 miles. Why are people going to make that special trip to come to you? What sets you apart? What makes you unique? Just like I've been saying, how are people going to remember you? And what do people think of when they think about your business, right? Do they think about the environment that you've created when they walk in? Do they think about your customer service? Do they think about how you treat people? Or do they think negative things, right? If it's negative things, you got some work to do and maybe you want to improve. But why do people patronize your business right now, right? Think of your most loyal customers that you work with all the time. Why are they loyal to you? Why do they keep coming back to you? How can you replicate that for more people that don't know about you? So I want to give an example I mentioned before, thinking about ways that local businesses can collaborate with other businesses that might have a similar demographic. And this is an older example that I learned about when I first joined the Local First team, but I still use it because it's a shining example of how two businesses with a similar demographic of a consumer can work together and collaborate, even though their stores are not next to each other. So the example I'm giving is Duck and Decanter, a family-owned sandwich shop that's in Phoenix, and then Changing Hands Bookstore, 30 plus. I think they're 50. They just celebrated their 50th anniversary, 50 plus years, locally owned bookstore in Phoenix and Tempe. So what was happening is years ago, probably when Changing Hands was celebrating their 40th anniversary, I believe Duck and Decanter was celebrating either their 35th or 45th. I can't remember which one was before the other, but they had anniversaries at the same time. So they had that going on, but they both were experiencing some challenges. Changing Hands Bookstore at the time was seeing a decline in author signings and readings. So the number of people that would actually come out to them, that's not a good thing for a bookstore, because if you have not high attendance, if the author comes out, they're going to go out and they're going to tell people, hey, maybe don't go to Arizona because not a lot of people showed up, right? And at the same time, Duck and Decanter was trying to feature their Arizona wines and not having a lot of success. They put them out on the counters. They were trying to feature them. No one was buying them. So they had these anniversaries going on, but also these challenges. So we sat them down in the same room and said, hey, let's look at who you're serving. They're the exact same type of customer. The same person that would walk into a Duck and Decanter and get a sandwich would walk into Changing Hands Bookstore and get a book, vice versa. So to celebrate your anniversaries, let's make sure you pull your money together and buy advertising together rather than do it on your own, right? And so they bought a full page ad in the Phoenix New Times at the time, celebrating both Duck and Decanter and Changing Hands Bookstore's anniversaries. So once again, kind of driving people, even if they weren't even thinking about it, to know that these are the types of businesses that they want to shop at, right? Then what we did is we said, hey, Changing Hands, since you're seeing a decline in people coming out to your author signings, why don't we mix things up? Let's host those in the outdoor garden of the Duck and Decanter on 16th Street in Camelback. And Duck and Decanter, at those book signings and author readings, let's only feature Arizona wines. So when people come out, they've got to taste and sample these wines that you're trying to sell. What happened? Attendance skyrocketed, wines flew off the shelves. All of a sudden, you've got all these people exposed to these wines, all these people coming out to a cool, different experience of an author signing and a reading, and we're able to address those challenges at the same time, driving people into their stores. So once again, this might not be you. This might not be the example that you want to, that you're able to directly connect with, but think about what other businesses out there work with the same type of customers that you work with, or same type of clients that you want to work with. Here's just some thriving examples of throughout the years businesses that I've seen collaborate together. Community Tire Pros, though they're retired now, throughout the years would buy Bashers gift cards and Harkins gift cards for all of their staff at their holiday party. I remember Bookmans would have book reading contests for kids, and if they read enough books, they would get gift cards to Harkins theaters. So these were well established, well known local businesses throughout Greater Phoenix for a very long time that all worked together, all had different things going on together. And so, just examples, things to think about. What other businesses are out there that you could be working with? So what do we call this? We call this leveraging your localness. There are so many opportunities that are missed when I see locally owned businesses not telling people that they're local. So many times after working at Local First for so many years, people ask me, how is it that you know what's local? Like, how do you know what a locally owned business is? And what I usually respond with is walk into the next store that you go to, or restaurant, or whatever it is, go up to the counter and ask the person who owns this place. And if they know, it's probably a local business. But if they have no idea, it's probably not. So you need to remind yourselves, most people aren't thinking about this, right? They're just like out there shopping, getting the things they need to get, buying the things they need to buy, looking for experiences. So you as a business owner, it's your responsibility. You need to leverage your localness. You need to tell them, you need to remind them that you're a local business. So make sure you're identifying yourself as one on your website, on your social media, in your stores, through your marketing materials. Every single person you do business with, thank them for purchasing from a local business, not because it's a favor, but because by doing so, they're contributing to a better economy, to a better community, right? Figure out what your non-local competition is doing. Everybody should know that, right? You should know what any non-local competitor is doing right now. You can use local statistics to close sales if you're looking for clients. Make sure you're telling your story as a business. Why did you start your business? Why do you love doing this, right? People are more likely to be attached to your company and to come back and spend money with you if they have a deep connection to your story. So tell them. And then think like a team and collaborate. There's other businesses surrounding you. You are not, again, a siloed entrepreneur or a siloed business working on your own. There are so many opportunities to collaborate with others in the community. And then I'm going to give some examples leading up to now. These are all rural examples on how great main streets throughout Arizona have driven people to their main streets and to their towns through working together. They've not just marketed their single business. Hey, come visit my business. They've collaborated together. They've thought of unique ways to drive people out to their communities because they know if they get a family there, if they get, a group of people to come there, they'll spend money throughout. And so they really work together to do that. So one example I want to show you, if you're just thinking about, hey, I'm a brick and mortar, or hey, I'm looking to open up a business, or there's just businesses around me, I want to give you this example of years ago. These businesses in Medlock Plaza did a really great job of collaborating, working together, and we just call it pulling your resources to think creatively. So what you're looking at here is actually in Uptown Phoenix. It's a variety of businesses. So on the left, you've got Smeeks, which is a candy shop, Red Hot Robot, a Japanese robot shop, Stinkweeds, a record store, Francis, a women's clothing boutique. Arizona Hi-Fi sells actual records that you can play. And then Halo Piercing is a piercing shop. So maybe only two of these businesses have anything in common, to be honest, right? These are very wide variety across the spectrum, different types of businesses. So why would anybody come out here, right? So at the time, these businesses were facing heavy construction. They were going through a lot of construction in the area, and the holidays were actually coming up. So they knew they had to come together and come up with some solutions for how they were going to succeed through the holiday season. So what they did is they said, hey, we actually don't have a name for our plaza. First, let's name our plaza. So they named it Medlock Plaza. Medlock is the street that's in the alley right behind them. And then what they did is they said, we really don't have any marketing materials. Rather than all of us going at this alone, what if we hired a local artist to create a graphic that we could all use together? And that's what you're looking at right here. They hired a local artist to come out on the streetscape and vision some type of really cool, colorful, creative way of painting a picture of where you were going when you would come to Medlock Plaza and visit these businesses. So this is a really cool way to just kind of showcase, hey, look at all these unique companies, right? So they then pulled their resources together, they pulled their money together, and they established an ad that was called a unique gift 6 different ways. And they bought ads in a variety of publications, and they drove people out to Medlock Plaza so that they could all work together and collaborate. So again, just one way that you can think about regionally collaborating with other businesses is thinking about, how can you pull your resources together? How can you get creative with your advertising? And how can you make sure that you're driving people out to the businesses that are around you as well as to your business, even if you have nothing in common with them as far as a product or resource goes. So, overall, you just really need to try to be, you don't have to be cheaper than the large companies, right? You don't have to be thinking, how can I drive my prices lower? Or how can that be the only way that I can drive people to my business? You can be different. You can have a wide variety, offer products that the larger companies do not have, be more convenient, be consistent, have the best customer service anybody's getting. Hey, if you're a business out there and I come to you and I spend my money with you and I don't have great service, you're not doing a great job, right? This is your time as locally owned businesses to remember that you need to be the best out there. You need to remind people that they are having the best experience they could ever have. They're doing business with you, whether you're serving consumers or you're serving businesses. You've got to go the extra mile every time. You've got to reach out to them, send them an extra email, remember what they told you, give them a phone call and thank them for doing business with you. Have that consistency. And like I said before, what do people think about when they think about your business? Make them think, wow, I will never go anywhere else. Make them think, I love how they treat me as a person and an individual, because I can guarantee the big, large corporations will not treat them that way, right? So make sure that you do what's in your control, which is to have the best service you possibly can. Now I'm just going to run through a wide variety of examples of great things that I've seen businesses do throughout the years to just showcase that they're locally owned, and be thinking about this again through the lens of the holiday season. People are going to be coming to your website. They're going to be shopping with you. They might be looking for gift cards. They might be looking for products. How can you tell your story through your holiday advertising, through your holiday storytelling, through what you're getting involved in, and showcase yourselves as a locally owned business? So this is Keep It Cut, a subscription-based hair cutting salon in the greater Phoenix area. They've got a great place on their website where they list every organization they're a part of, everyone that they're involved with, every nonprofit that they've given back to. Just a really cool, kind of simple way that they've shown the community, hey, we care, and hey, we're not just a haircutting salon, but we actually are a part of our community and exist to be rooted within it. This is in Scramble, a breakfast joint, local breakfast restaurant here in Arizona. When you walk in, you get just slapped in the face with this big sign. Hey, we're a proud local business. It contributes to the local economy. Enjoy your food today. Hey, by the way, here's where we source all of our products: Dan's Eyes and Dairy, local milk, Hickman's Farms, local eggs, all these other companies. Caesar Graphics does their printing. Really cool way to just show that they are a part of an ecosystem, and it's not just a single restaurant you're supporting, right? When you go to this restaurant, the profits that they're making, they're turning around and they're actually working with other locally owned businesses. So you can walk away feeling like your dollar stretched further. Spinato's just celebrated their 50th year. They do a really great job of this. We just had the Spinatos out to our member appreciation event this month, and I wanted to throw this up there. Anthony Spinato said something really, really great when he was talking. He said, 20 years ago, it wasn't really cool to work in a locally owned restaurant. And when Local First Arizona got started and businesses started getting involved and working together and collaborating, it made it cool for people to want to work in local restaurants. So the power of locally owned businesses collaborating together, working together, sharing their stories on their website and making it different, you can be a part of that. And we want you to embrace that, right? We don't just want you to be out there trying to operate on your own. You need to be a part and exist in a community of other businesses around you. Speaking of the holidays, there's going to be a lot of events going on. Do your research now. Be looking it up. Do you want to participate in them? Could you be doing business with them? Maybe you're not, a local vendor that could be out of these markets. Maybe you are and you want to get into them. Start doing your outreach now. Ask, how can you get a vendor application? How can you participate? How can you be there? But maybe you're in business services and you want to do business with some of the vendors. Could you support through a small sponsorship? Maybe it's not a high dollar amount to just support what's going on at that local event. That can establish connections for you, establish relationships, build connections that you can leverage for a very long time. There's a lot of businesses that do that very, very well. So what I'm showing here, by the way, is Cafeteria. This is a cool pop-up market that happens in downtown Phoenix. I mentioned Francis before. They host this every single year, brings out hundreds of people to shop, not only with them, but with all these other businesses that they're listing on this flyer. So again, it's not all about the single business. It's about other businesses around them. All these people aren't at the mall right now, right? All these people are not sitting at home shopping on Amazon right now, right? They are going out to spend their money with these businesses because they've created a great, interesting, cool experience that hopefully they don't forget. Festivus, another example. And these are, specific to these local areas, but every area is going to have something special, something unique going on in it. What are those things? Do your research now. Go find the organizers, go find the community partners, see how you can be a part of it, see how you can contribute, leverage that, not just for the day you're there or the day it's happening, but for long term. How can you use that to build relationships, to build connections, to build community with the other businesses that are there? And then never forget, please don't forget that as members of Local First Arizona, you have so many opportunities to remind people that you are locally owned businesses. We have these digital and printed graphics for your use. I've seen fleet companies put proud Arizona grown business stickers on every single one of their trucks so that people know. We have Wist Office Products, a local office products company that puts the Local First logo on every single box that they ship out. What you're looking at the left here, this was actually several years ago. I think this is Maya T. They bought a big billboard in downtown Phoenix and decided that, hey, 20% of that ad they were putting up, they wanted people to know that they're local. Again, this isn't because we are saying that Local First Arizona is the greatest thing out there and we want it to be all about us. No, it's all about you as businesses. People want to find you. So make sure that you're utilizing what we've created to drive people to you. So as you're thinking about the holidays, just think about all the opportunities for your local company and strategies. What local vendors could you be doing business with? How can you celebrate those other vendors? Think about all the events and the networking opportunities that are coming up that you could be participating in for the holidays. Have the best customer service possible. That's the simplest thing you can do today, right? And make sure you're training your team how to do so. Make sure that they're reminding people that they are spending money with a local business every single day. Use those local statistics to close deals for your company and for all of your contracts. And just remember, you won't always be cheaper than the big guys. Set yourself apart and make sure you're telling your story. So I'm just really happy to be able to spend some time with you today. I appreciate everybody being a part of Local First and your commitment to your network and to your community. And we hope that you are walking away today with maybe some new ideas, maybe some ways that you can leverage your localness in different ways and increase your visibility as the holiday season is coming up. So I appreciate everyone's time today. That's all I have for you, but I am happy to answer any questions if anyone has any. If you'd like to come off mute and ask them or throw them in the chat, I'm happy to answer them too.
I was going to share as well, we do have our directory. If there's any businesses that you see in our directory that you would like to make a connection with, please reach out to membership@localfirstaz.com, and we're happy to make those introductions for collaboration opportunities. Great. Thank you so much for your time today, everyone. I hope you have an awesome rest of your week, and we'll see you out there. Thank you very much. Thanks, Thomas. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.